What's up? Can you hear me okay? So, I wasn't even going to go live, but then I watched something and I had to. But I'll wait for more people to get here because there's like 13. And I mean, it hasn't been that long since I haven't been live, but where is everyone? What's up, Sly? Um, what was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say and I totally forgot. Oh, well. And let me just say right off the bat, this is not about Brittany, QB, or anybody else. I don't want to hear about them. I don't give a fuck about them. I am so over them. And I really I'm done. I I I can't listen to fucking anything about Brittany anymore. I'm over it. I don't know how the fuck these people did it for me or anyone else that they talk about. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I know what I wanted to start with. Kathy P. I am sorry I'm a little delayed because I haven't been around, but my deepest sincerity for your husband. I heard that you lost your husband over the weekend, and my deepest sympathy. And I really mean that. When I had cancer, you were one of the few people from the hive that didn't go with the, oh, we need proof kind of thing. And I remember you being in my chat, and I was very surprised. But I do remember that you took a stand and you absolutely were not part of that bullshit. And I appreciated that. And I never forgot that, even though, we've gone our separate ways since. But little things like that, I don't forget. So returning that deepest sympathy. And I hope you can somehow find some happiness through this all or some reasons. And I just, if you need to talk, reach out. I mean, I did lose somebody, not my husband, but close enough. So I understand. Um, so feel free to reach out if you ever need to. And I mean that. All swords are down. Doesn't matter what happened. So just want to say that life is short and you never know what tomorrow brings. And that's 100% true. You just never know. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Second thing I want to say is I missed you guys. It's been a crazy fucking 2 weeks. I have this week to get through, and then I'll be back. Then I'll be back full time every day, back to normal. Working on the website over the next 2 weeks while I'm waiting for new scents to come in. We got lots of new stuff coming. The convention I did this weekend turned out awesome. The air freshies are a huge hit. I basically sold out. I just made more today. And things are good. Things went really good this week. Sage's shower was amazing. Her bridesmaids are amazing. And they did a fantastic job setting everything up while I was at the convention. We saw Sage's, what we went to visit where the actual hall that she's getting married in, and just 97 days, and my daughter is going to be a married woman. Crazy. 97 days. Or maybe it's 96 now. Maybe it was 97 yesterday. I don't know. But everyone, all family went back home today. So it's just been a crazy week. But there I was, laying in bed, and I saw Nancy Grace was on. So I was like, oh, Kohlberger. And I'm listening. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, these people are dumber than a box of rocks. And who does she have as a guest? Chris McDouchebag and 10 to Life. 3 idiot savants. So I decided to do a reaction video to it because I was like yelling at my fucking phone laying in bed. So here we are. Hang on, I gotta pull it up. Do 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 do. Bear with me. Okay, by the way, did you guys hear Chris Watts is getting married in prison? Did you know that? All right. So this is a 44-minute video. I got 20 minutes in before I went live. Just so you know. I just want you to know, guys, it's breaking news that Brian Kohlberger has red hands. I swear to you. This is what they're promoting. Yes. According to a specific channel, hey, Blonde Gypsy, how are your candles? According to a specific channel, Chris Watts is getting married to a girl named Lorraine, I think. Lorraine, something like that. I'll go into it after. Because I already have this one pulled up. But I'll go through it after. But yeah, allegedly he's getting married. So let's listen to this breaking news. Like, oh my God.
Leaked jail videos of Brian Kohlberger with bright red hands. Red compared to the rest of his arm. Bright red hands as a
Nancy Grace. He's in prison, not county jail. He's in prison. He probably washes his hands 37,000 times a day. That's why his hands are red. Duh.
American Psycho type shirtless selfies emerge on his phone. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Nancy, most people take selfies from their cell phone. Just saying.
Yes. I think he was an incel.
Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud.
Incels hate women because they can't get them, because they got the girl, not him.
If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
Incredibly, seethingly envious and jealous.
Those last words were from Kelly Gonsalves' sister speaking at sentencing. You know, drop the mic, girl. You are awesome. But to tonight's stunning reveal, these American Psycho type shirtless selfies and so much more emerging on Brian Kohlberger's phone. This, as we learn, when he leaves the murder scene. And believe it or not, there are still people fighting online saying he's innocent and he was framed. By who? Himself? He pled guilty. It's emerging now that as he's leaving this horrific crime scene, who does he call? Mommy. That's freaky. But first, I've got.
Why is that so freaky? Can someone fill me in on why that's so freaky? So he called his mom. And who else is he going to call? He doesn't have a girlfriend.
How to get to this leaked cell video. Joining me in All-Star Panel to make sense of what we are learning. Let's look at it, everybody. Let's look at the video together. And straight out to Annie Elise joining us, creator, CEO of 10 to Life, and host of Serialacy podcast, which is a huge hit. Annie, thank you for being with us. Let's look at the, look at the hands. We're looking at it right now. I don't know if you can see it on your monitor. And here he is obsessively cleaning the cracks and the little line that goes around the bottom of your shoe. What? He got it muddy behind bars? No, but he's recleaning and recleaning his shoes and looking around awkwardly. Looks very much, this is telling me something else. It's telling me that the way he looked in sentencing and the way he looked in court is how he really looks. Kind of a blank, dead stare. Okay. First of all, I want to analyze everything I can glean from this leaked video, and who leaked it is anybody's guess. Jails are falling over themselves to say, it's not ours, it's not ours. Hey, it's somebody's. Straight out to Annie, Elise. Annie, what do you observe in the video?
Idiot Savant number 1 is about to come up.
I think it's so interesting because, of course, everybody is glued to this, trying to analyze it because it's really.
Please tell me who the fuck is glued to this. It's a video of a man in jail who's obviously in front of a microphone. I'm sorry, a speaker. You see him looking up. There's either a voice coming out of there, it's a video he's watching, something. This is not fucking rocket science. His hands are red from excessively washing it. He's in some kind of medical arena or some kind of medical dorm. He's not in a regular cell unless they have cells that look like that, but it looks pretty intense. If he's not allowed out of his cell at all, or he's in there 24 hours a day, I would imagine it might be a little bigger than your average cell. But having a locker like that is not normal. So that tells me that he's looking at a speaker or something on top and he's paying attention to somebody talking through that speaker. I don't know what there's so much to analyze.
The first movements we have seen for 3 years of him, and we've heard that he has OCD, so he's carefully cleaning the shoe. But I think what strikes everybody as odd is when he's done cleaning it, he puts that tissue up on top of the cage and he just stares there, very still, very intently, looking above the monitor that's in that cage, and almost looks as though he's just thinking or evaluating it, and it's really eerie.
I'm taking a look at him now. Now, what was your
Now remember, they're playing the same video over and over and over and over. I think the actual video is probably 10 seconds, but they keep replaying it. But I see someone who looks like he is listening to a speaker. I mean, he stands there like dead set. So that tells me he's looking or listening to somebody speak, which is probably above the TV or above the cage.
comment regarding how he would look up at the shelf?
Yeah, when he puts it up, you can see a little bit. If you look at his eyes, he's looking directly above whatever's inside that cage, whether it's a TV screen, some sort of, maybe perhaps a tablet. I don't think it's the tablet, though. I don't think he has access to that. And he's almost staring right above it, just looking at it. I don't know if it's because he's angry at not throwing it away because he doesn't want to contaminate the cell. I don't know why he wouldn't throw it away. There's a trash can right there. But it just seems very bizarre that he would use it to clean so intently, put it there,
Annie
and just
Elise.
stare.
Oh, Annie Elise. Whoa. Hold on.
Annie Elise, you are an idiot. Again, he's probably listening to somebody with directions because he's looking right at it. So it's most likely a speaker that he's looking at or listening to. Maybe that's his only tissue and he's using it because that's what he's cleaning his shoe with, and he doesn't have another tissue and he doesn't want to use toilet paper. Maybe, just maybe, they told him they're not going to give him brand new toilet paper every time he wants to clean his shoe. So he's keeping the toilet paper in order to keep the shoe. This is not like something that is so, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, dude, you're a fucking idiot.
Annie, he couldn't put trash in the trash can. It would make the trash can dirty.
I know. You're right. You're
Don't
right.
you remember? Hold on. I got to throw something at you. Hold on just a moment. But I'm going to go very quickly to Chris McDonough joining me. Has worked over 300 homicide cases. I found him on YouTube on his show, The Interview Room. Former homicide detective. Remember when he was arrested at his parents' place near the Poconos? Remember that? And he was, Annie, you've got to remember this. And he was wearing plastic gloves at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like a surgeon, and were wearing boxer shorts or shorts. And he was taking trash and putting in plastic bags before the plastic bags would be put into the trash, and then putting that trash in the neighbor's trash bin. So, like, this guy is not going to just throw something in the trash can, especially something that might be dirty, where he had re-cleaned his shoes behind bars.
Nancy, if we take a look at this video, there's a couple of things that are pretty obvious here. Number one is it's got to be a medical facility in terms of a cell within inside of the jail. Or
Now, this is where I do agree with McDouche over there, because that's not a normal bed and it's on wheels. I've never seen a prison bed on wheels like that unless it was in like medical. That's why I said it was medical.
wherever this is from, because there are 2 windows on the wall. There's one on the door, if you'll notice, and then there's one on the wall. And then inside of the trash can, there's a plastic bag. And on the wall, there's a cord hanging down. And then, of course, it's a medical bed. And then there's railings around the toilet. That means one of 2 things. A, he's in observation, or B, they've signed off that he's not a threat to himself, because that bag and that cord would not be in that room.
Absolutely. Plus, did you see the bedspread? I don't know if you said that. I didn't hear you say the bedspread. It doesn't look like a uniform bedspread that you would see in a cell, also in a regular cell. I mean, you remember the disarray in Jeffrey Epstein's cell, which is totally not SOP. Here, there's too much stuff in a room if he was on suicide watch.
Exactly. And that bed is a medical bed. You can see it. I mean, even at the top, it's got the railing on it still. So I think your observation here, and whoever took this
what
is
he
going to be
doing
connected.
With styrofoam cups in his room? Wait a minute. Why? What, is he getting hot cocoa? See those styrofoam cups up there?
So Nancy Grace thinks that you have to have hot chocolate in order to have a styrofoam cup. Really, Nancy Grace? Are you this fucking stupid? How are you famous? Just tell me, how are you famous?
On the shelf? What? He's not supposed to have that in his room. Where is this place?
No.
Of course,
well,
this video is yet to be verified by authorities, and the jails are falling all over themselves saying, hey, we didn't leak it. Somebody leaked it. Okay, why is he having hot cocoa behind bars? Why does he have styrofoam cups in there?
Well, that tells us he's had 2 meals, because each comes with a drink. And so he's saving those cups for something, and the staff is letting him have it, to your point. So, yeah, this is a medical situation, I think, before they put him into isolation.
McDonough, does somebody bring you hot chocolate in bed? Because nobody brings me hot chocolate in bed. Why is he getting his what? How is he allowed to keep all that in his room? It's completely.
How are you allowed to be so fucking stupid and get away with it? That's what I want to know.
Against the ordinance behind bars. I don't care. But the thing is, he could do something with all of those items like it's claimed Epstein did. He allegedly hung himself. Okay, that's BS. But that said, that's why inmates are not allowed to have all the accoutrement with them behind bars. So is he getting his food in that room he never leaves to even eat?
Yeah, I mean, and that
Prisons, well, then again, I don't know about prisons. I've never been to prison. But county jail, yeah, you eat right there. You don't leave anywhere. You stay right where you are and they bring you your meal and that's it. Prisons might have a cafeteria. That I don't know. Never been to prison.
that's why there are 3 levels of observation, right? You got the 2 windows, one on the door, one on the wall, and of course the video observation. You've got eyes on this guy at all times, and maybe this is part of the where docs are looking at him, going, "Okay, he's not doing this, doing that," and that that's out of my pay grade, right? But at the same time, maybe this is part of where are we going to put this guy, and how off is he just yet?
Well, another issue is some of the shoes look like they may have shoelaces. That's totally disallowed. You put 2 shoelaces together.
Can someone tell me where Nancy Grace sees shoelaces? He's got the orange jumper ones, which are standard given when you go to jail. These could be this could be right after court. We don't know when this video was actually taken. So those could be shoes from court because he's not in his standard orange jumpsuit. So I have to disagree with her. It looks like he went somewhere, but no, those don't look like they have shoelaces.
Suddenly, you've got that means you can strangle yourself or somebody else. McDonough?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're 100% right, Nancy. And that's why we got to take a 50-50 looking at this thing and saying, okay, could this be AI generated? And or if it is belonging to the facility, those are very legitimate questions that you just, or statements that you just made. He shouldn't have those 2 wishes.
I would not have imagined he would be in a cell of this nature. Joining me right now, Karen Stark, forensic psychologist, renowned TV radio trauma expert and consultant at KarenStark.com. Karen, what are you making of what we are seeing?
So, Nancy, what we see is somebody who's very, very anxious. And think about who he is. He's a person who needs to be isolated. He doesn't have contacts in his phone, only 18. He keeps himself except for his family dependency, he's on his own. And what I'm looking at is somebody who's very anxious. We know about the staring. We know about the fact that he has that look in his eyes and he's a killer and a monster. But here he is, just looking ahead, looking at his shoes, very obsessive, compulsive. And I feel like he's extremely anxious because he's being observed.
And you get that from where, lady? Do some research and you will learn that the autism stare is very real. And the autistic stare is very much like a psychopath. I actually found, I'll show you guys after, I actually found some peer-reviewed article on the connection between autism and psychopathy. I was reading it before it went live. It's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, there is a real, very real autistic stare. That's what you're seeing, people. Just saying.
And he's not used to anything like that. He keeps to himself. Also, the fact that his hands are red, it's as though, he's calling out, I'm in distress.
No, it means he washes his hands a lot because he has OCD. This one I don't get. How do you bring on experts that don't know a fucking thing about the case? Get experts that actually understand the case, the ins and outs of the case, the criminal, the subject, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that they don't, I really have secondhand embarrassment for them, honestly.
I don't know what that red is, if he cut himself and he was bleeding, but he's having a really difficult time,
Karen,
being there.
How
being
do red
observed.
hands say, how in the world do having really red hands equal crying out, I'm in distress? I mean, I'm just a
Oh,
trial
it's-
lawyer, but I don't understand what you just said.
Well, to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's very spooky. Like, why are his hands red? And he knows he's being observed.
Well, I think I've got a pretty good idea because he washes them obsessively, as we have discussed in previous programs. He washes his hands to the point his hands are absolutely cracking open and red. That's why his hands are red. Okay, so again, I'm just a trial lawyer, but as a psychoanalyst, what does that tell you?
Well, that tells me he's obsessive compulsive. That's what he does. Just the way you see him cleaning his shoes, Nancy, that's exactly what he's doing with his hands. He's doing it over and over again. And that's how.
My son, who doesn't even watch this, could have told you that. But this is an expert. This is someone that knows. Oh my God. I honestly feel like, no offense, but I honestly feel like I'm listening to Britney's panel. This is how Britney's panel are. Like, that's why I can't watch it. But this is how it sounds.
He copes with his anxiety. He gets fixated on things. And this is such a great example of somebody who's fixating on a shoe and then staring at that shelf, whatever is there. And if in fact that's why his hands are red, he just washes them, as you said, over and over and over.
To Annie Elise joining us, what's the word on where this video came from? Is it like in the Sean Combs Cassie Ventura beatdown video where someone is videoing a screen? Because
It appears that
I don't understand
it
when you
appears
pull
that
back out of the video, you can see that storage shelf.
Yes, you can also see at the very start of the video, the corner of what looks to be a computer monitor. So I believe that it's somebody who works inside this facility who maybe wanted to show off to their friends or family and say, look who's in our facility, who I'm watching, and they're videoing the actual monitor of the recording.
Can someone tell me why it even fucking matters? Who cares? That's like the dumbest question along with the dumbest answer. And they make it out like it's so important. Oh my God. Somebody in the jail recorded it. No. Say it isn't so. Why would anyone do that? Duh.
Inside the cell, and then they share it with one person. That, of course, gets shared, ends up all over the internet, and goes viral.
Hello, Nancy Grace here. To all of you homeowners, when some changes and a fraud does happen by jailhouse standards as opposed to a bunk, he has, look at this, plenty of walking around room, shelves, multiple pairs of shoes. He's doing fine. The leaked video has yet to be verified by authorities, but now his selfies, his freaky American Psycho type selfies are emerging. Listen.
Besides the chilling selfie he took giving the thumbs up hours after murdering 4 university students, Kohberger's cell phone is filled with creepy selfies posing shirtless and flexing his muscles. Had Kohberger gone to trial, experts from Celebrite would have testified about Kohberger's phone and how he attempted to hide his movements by powering off his phone with 100% battery driving to and from the crime scene, and how his cell phone use would have taken down his alibi, claiming he was driving around in the dark looking at stars. Celebrite expert Heather Barnhart says, if you're...
Is chat not working or is nobody typing?
stargazing and taking pictures of the sky, your phone needs to be on.
And joining us right now, a very special guest, Heather Barnhart, lead digital forensic investigator in the Brian Kohberger case. SANS Institute fellow, that's System Administrative Audit Network and Security, Senior Director of Forensic Research, Celebrite, which we learned way too much about during the Alex Murdaugh double murder case. She is also co-author of Practical Mobile Forensics. Heather, thank you so much for being with us. Tell us what you meant by that statement.
He had so many selfies on this device. Brian Koberger loved himself. There was a level of vanity. And even if you look at that image right there, the scrubbing of his knuckles, the redness in his hands in the cell, he was obsessive. He didn't like to be dirty, but he loved to look at himself. We found cached YouTube images of Christian Bale as American Psycho standing in front of a mirror with blood spattered on his face. And as you can see in many of these selfies, he has that same look. He has that same dead stare and almost this vain appreciation of who he is and what he thinks he is.
What else did you observe on Koberger's phone?
Oh my gosh. So he was obsessed with serial killers. He searched for non-consensual acts. He also was really paranoid in December, a few days before his arrest. He was searching for ways to detail his car, possibly get rid of his car. So we know when you're searching for psychopath paranoia, and I believe I heard he didn't want to be called a psychopath. He knows he is, and he was searching for that. He was extremely paranoid.
All right, let me just say, if you go through any teenager phone, like literally any teenager, you're going to find endless selfies. When I was young, in my teens and early 20s, I was also obsessed with serial killers. If I was young today, I would probably have those images on my phone. I have the serial murder cards. Like, no joke. I used to be obsessed with serial killers. You can find selfies on my phone. That doesn't make me a psychopath. It doesn't make me a killer. It just makes me obsessed with psychopaths. But everything is hindsight because, yes, we know Brian did it. We know Brian did this, but not everyone who's obsessed with psychopaths turn out to be murderers.
But also obsessed with just reading the behaviors and lifestyles of serial killers.
When you say he would read about the lifestyle,
Who, the one that's talking now? She is head of Celebrate or a detective, something like that. She's also an author, but she worked on the Koberger case.
files of serial killers. What do you mean? What was he looking up?
On Christmas night, right before it switched to the 26th, Brian went to serial killer timelines on Android, and he clicked on link after link, 2 times for Danny Rawling, Dennis Rader, Ted Bundy, and so many more. But what he was reading, where these serial killers were born, what type of families they came from, what their crime was, how they got caught, did they ever hurt any pets? It was extremely creepy. And think about that timeline. It's Christmas night. Most people aren't going to read about serial killers.
100% disagree with that statement. 100%.
You know, I was looking at your analysis, Heather Barnhart, and for hours he looked up Betty Lou Beats.
Yeah, but Sly, the point that I'm trying to make at is it's hindsight. We know he did this, so we look at these things like, oh my God, look what he did. But the reality is there's a lot of people that will look up serial killers on Christmas Eve that aren't serial killers, that will never turn around and kill someone. And anyone that's obsessed with serial killers and does look at all that stuff now has a mark on them like, oh my God, you're going to be another Kohlberger. But in order to learn about serial killers, you do want to know everything about them. I told you guys, we wrote to John Wayne Gacy when we were kids. He tried to get us to buy his artwork. I mean, that's just the way it is. If there was a serial killer now that I was interested in, I'd probably write him. So it's hindsight, but that doesn't mean every single person that's obsessed, like I've never had a desire to kill someone, but I like reading about all the people that do.
Randy Kraft, William Lee, Danny Rowling, Joel Rifkin, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, so many others, Rodney Alcala, Robert Hansen, Gary Ridgway. Wow, Ed Kemper, one of the worst, Dennis Rader, aka Bind, Torture, Kill, BTK. And that is on, is it Christmas night or Christmas Eve night?
It's on Christmas night into the hours of the 26th of December.
And you said he had a huge cache of American Psycho saved? Were they stills? Did he actually download the movie?
They were still shots from YouTube. So it's almost as if he either captured it or his Android captured it on his behalf as he was watching. He watched Ed Kemper mannerisms on YouTube. So different things that just don't make sense. Even if you're a criminology major, do not make sense.
Now, that's interesting that you said that, because I imagine that the defense would be, well, he's a criminology student and that's why he's doing this. But you say, and I agree, that it doesn't make sense. I have my own reasons, such as he's doing it on Christmas night, number one, but studying it and getting screen grabs of Christian Bale without a shirt on, Bale, that's not real, okay? Christian Bale is not a serial killer, but yet he's getting these shirtless selfies type shots of Bale and saving them and then reenacting them. So that has
See, that's the thing. He's not reenacting him because he already did the dirty deed. He already did it 6 weeks prior to Christmas. So does it really matter what he's looking at on Christmas Day? Or at Christmas at night? It doesn't matter anymore. He already did the deed.
nothing to do with his criminality.
Like, what I'm saying is, show me stuff from. You show me that he looked up this stuff 2 years ago. Show me he looked this stuff up 6 weeks before he did the murders. Then, to me, that would be creepy and that would make perfect sense. But looking at it weeks later, where's the connection here? Unless he already did 4. So you're already a serial murderer. So who cares what he's looking up 6 weeks later? I don't know. Maybe I'm the dummy. Maybe I'm missing something, but that's how I see it.
Degree. But why do you say that, Heather?
I majored in forensic science. I majored in bloodstain pattern analysis. You would get research projects. Your research wasn't to research every single one and repeatedly. He visited Danny Rowling twice on Christmas night and once earlier in November. So it was repetitive reading. Almost, to me, it felt like bedtime reading, something that would relax him because he was home with mother and father. So he didn't need them to put him to sleep. Instead, he leaned into something like this.
Heather, do not move a hair. Joining me now is Josh Colesrud, renowned criminal defense attorney, former assistant U.S. attorney.
All right. So up until this point, I haven't seen any of this. This is when I decided to go live.
Founder of Colesrud Law Offices. Josh, do your clients ever totally skeeve you out?
Yes, of course. But, I try to remain objective throughout anything. I mean, when I was a prosecutor, we had situations that are very similar to this case as well. And, the most important thing is to remain objective. And when looking at the jail video in particular, the first thing that I think about is that if this video is real, that it's a betrayal of prison security. And if it's not real,
stars, put him up, please. I must see his.
Marie, here's where I kind of might disagree with that. Is he a killer? Yes. Is he a murderer? Yes. Is he a psychopath? I don't know. Most psychopaths don't look at other psychopaths to emulate. Most psychopaths have their own thoughts and their own feelings and their own way of doing it. A narcissist, most likely, yeah. An incel, most likely, yeah. But I just don't really see him as a psychopath because he's a copycat. And if you look at the history of psychopaths, they're not really followers of another psychopath. They do their own thing. That's how I feel. So that's why I don't really think he's a psychopath. I think he's a lot of other things, but psychopath, I'm not so sure.
His face as he's saying this. Oh, he kept a straight face. You're telling me Brian Koberger had his privacy violated? That's your worry? He's taking screen grabs of Christian Bale, who plays American Psycho, and storing them.
Yeah, but what I mean is it's almost like he tried to copy someone. Hey, Amanda, he tried to copy other psychopaths, so he looks like a psychopath. If he truly is autistic, that makes perfect sense to me because he doesn't have an identity of his own. So he's emulating what others do. He's emulating what psychopaths do to make him look like a psychopath. That's what I think.
He's obsessively reading bedtime stories about serial killers on Christmas night. And the first thing that comes out of your defense attorney mouth is his rights have been violated because somebody's peeked on him as he's shining his shoes again. You said that, right? I'm so happy.
What's concerning to me is that, number one, the victims of this crime, their families, don't want to keep seeing Brian Koberger on TV being analyzed and being idolized into a cult-like figure. I mean, people aren't watching this to learn. They're watching it to peek at a monster in a...
Could not agree with him more.
Cage. And that says more about us than it says about him.
Okay, first you said his rights were violated. And when I got 3 inches up your tailpipe, you went, oh, erase, Jurassic erase. What I meant to say is that I'm all about the victims' families. And I don't want them to have to look at Koberger again. So that's your backup argument. I'm asking you about creepy clients. And first you say Koberger's rights have been violated because I can watch him in his cell. Now you're saying what you meant to say was you were trying to defend the victims.
There are many reasons why this video is disturbing. And it's not just for those two reasons. There's also the idea that even inmates have a right to privacy. And if you just give that up and you strip that away, then we erode the foundation of what our entire system is based on, which is the rule of law, that it's, that justice is blind, that we apply the rules equally to everyone. And that's what we're trying to say here. This obsession with seeing Koberger behind bars, it really does risk quadruple murder into somebody that's a cult-like figure instead of where he belongs, which is forgotten.
Well, maybe that's your interpretation, Cole's rude, but nothing in my mind is turning him into a cult-like figure.
See, and I disagree with that because you have idiot savant number 1, 10 to life, who sat there going, we're all studying this video so heavily. Why? It's a fucking video of a dude in a jail cell. Who gives a fuck? Why are you analyzing this so heavily? She is the exact thing that this guy's talking about. Why are you analyzing it? Why are you going through it so much? It's a fucking video of a psychopath in a jail cell, right? Makes no sense.
To be worshipped and admired. Again, the video has yet to be verified by authorities. A couple of jails are going, it's not us. But as you heard earlier, Chris McDonough was stating, that's not a typical jail cell. This looks like it's on a med unit. And I don't think it's going to be a typical cell in any of 2 jailhouses I can think of. So I went to Josh Colruyt to ask him, would he be
No, autism is you don't need a professional. I could have told you that. Autism itself is not related to his actions, but the dead stare and the way people are perceiving that dead stare, that's what's related to autism. I could have told you that.
schemed out basically by a client who is for enjoyment bedtime reading about all these serial killers? And speaking of Ed Kemper, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've got a feeling Heather Barnhart might know the answer to this. His first victim was his own grandmother. He shot her with a rifle, and he said, I wanted to see what it'd feel like to shoot up grandma. Words to that effect. So he does have that in simpatico with Brian Kohberger, because I believe he committed the murder to, quote, see what it felt like. See, him reading about Ed Kemper on Christmas night, that skeeves me out totally. And I have been with a lot of killers. I've interviewed them, I've prosecuted them, I've investigated them, I have covered them, I've studied them right down to their DNA. And I got to tell you something, Heather. I don't know what Colesroot is talking about. Now he's a victim's rights advocate. He is a criminal defense attorney, and a really good one at that. Heather, Kemper, Christmas night, 10 o'clock, what, with his PJs tucked in?
First of all, it's Christmas night. Christmas is over. There's nothing that goes on Christmas night. It's not Christmas Eve. It's Christmas night. Everything is done. I don't know why she's making it so, wow, oh my God, Christmas night. Christmas is over. The holiday's over. It's done. Families go home. Everyone goes to bed. You play with your toys, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Into it. And I put some guys will tuck the shirt into the pants, and then the pants get tucked into the socks. I could just totally see that happening. And reading about Kemper, whose first victim was his own grandma.
You know, when you say grandma and the way Ryan saved mother and father, and even texted, where is father? Why won't father answer? It's too many similar behaviors.
Hey, before you start talking about him going, Father, why won't mother pick up the phone? That's a whole nother can of worms. I got to get this bus and steer it back in the middle of the road. I'm talking about Kohberger freakily screen grabbing Christian Bale and then making replica shirtless selfies, flexing his muscles. Tell me about the images, Heather.
So my husband worked this case with me. So it was so crazy. Imagine our conversations at home. But pictures, not only just forward in the mirror, but from behind. So he would get the mirror reflection back while he was flexing.
911 location of your emergency.
Something is happening. Something's happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
When I first learned about the significance of organic, thanks, Koyuchi.
Stand in his bathroom mirror and flex his muscles, but take photos of himself from multiple angles. So head on, from behind, profile view. And it was eerily similar to Christian Bale in American Psycho, which was also present on his phone.
Guys, you're seeing some of the shots we have of Kohberger and his selfies. Heather, what you are telling us is far more extensive than what we have been told about his online searches. I'm curious as to what you learned about searches as it pertains to attacking women when they are passed out, drunk, in some type of a stupor. What did you learn?
Everything he searched for was non-consensual sex acts. So think sleeping, passed out, nothing was what we would typically in digital forensics call normal searches.
We also learn of Kohberger's attempt to erase everything digitally. Listen.
3 days after the murders, Kohberger runs an eraser software on his laptop, which is used to wipe data from the hard drive. The Celebrite team uncovers digital evidence even after Kohberger's best effort to scrub anything incriminating from his laptop and cell phone. They even discovered a pattern where Kohberger went to extreme lengths to try to delete and hide his digital footprint using VPNs, incognito modes, and clearing his browsing history.
Heather, what does that mean?
He intended to commit this murder, all these murders. He purposely powered down his phone. He purposely cleaned up data from the device. And what's interesting is the gap is about a month before the murders even happened. So what was on that computer that he needed to hide? That's what always drives me insane with this investigation.
What exactly is incognito mode?
Incognito mode is something specific to the Chrome browser that lets you remain anonymous. It's not supposed to track any of your browser history. However, just like leaving the sheath behind at the crime scene, he made mistakes. He downloaded, if you bookmark and autofill. So as you're typing things that you want to see when you're in private browsing or incognito, autofill remembers it because
You know, it's funny though. My iPhone has been in private browsing probably like 3 months already. I have no idea how to get it off. I didn't do it intentionally, but I have no idea how to remove it.
our computers and phones want to please us. They know that we are lazy humans that just want repetitive nature. So it remembers so it can remind you.
Joining us, Annie Elise, creator and CEO of 10 to Life and star of Seriously, a hit podcast. Annie, again, thank you for being with us. It's my understanding that immediately after the murders, as soon as he turned his cell phone back on, he called his mother. Explain what you know.
So they spoke on and off throughout the entire day, and one of those conversations was around 90 minutes long, which of course in hindsight, I would be very curious to know what those conversations looked like. But it's interesting, we have heard that he is very socially isolated, that Brian has struggled to form personal close connections with peers, with partners. So through my case coverage and other cases, what I've learned from that is that people who are like often heavily lean on a parent, usually the mother too. They want that emotional regulation. They want to feel grounded. So I think that it makes sense that after the murders, he was trying to find his mom. When he couldn't get a hold of her, that's when he texted his dad saying, "Father, why did mother not respond?" And I think him calling her repeatedly and just wanting to have those conversations with her throughout the day could reflect his need for reassurance, for feeling grounded, especially if he was stressed and reeling from these murders.
Heather Barnhart with us, lead digital forensics investigator in the Brian Kohberger case. Is that true? His long extended conversations with his mother, including immediately after the murders?
It's true. And this is typical behavior for Brian Kohberger. He, every single morning, as early as 5 a.m. his time, up until he would finally go to sleep at night, constantly reaching out to mother and father.
Okay, joining me, Karen Stark, renowned forensic psychologist, TV, radio trauma expert. What does it mean, Karen?
Well, it means he never let go of his attachment to his parents, Nancy. He really didn't have friends, and he was overly dependent on them. So they were everything to him. When he's anxious, when something happens, he's calling them and only them. And at his age, you never.
When I'm anxious and upset, guess who the first person I call is? My mother.
Never see that. That's development that's been paused. And that's not somebody who's a grown-up.
You know, to Dr. Priya Banerjee joining us, board certified forensic pathologist at Anchor Forensics Pathology. Dr. Priya, I'm trying to figure out, because I think there's a tie-in here. What is your analysis of why his hands are so bright neon red in that leaked jailhouse video?
Oh, yes. I think it's, the soap's not the nicest probably, right? And I think it's a harsh soap and it is repetitive use. He's he's scrubbing past the surface with irritation. And I think you can see the repetitive nature of everything he does. And he just can't get clean enough. And his anxiety is probably playing into it too. That, his circumstances are less than ideal for him and he just can't get a control over it. And he seems to be like a obsessive control freak, if you will. And that's really, the cycle that he's trying to break, but he can't. And I think it's using the same soap and scrubbing nature that's really irritating things.
So, Karen Stark, how does the obsessive hand washing fit in with the mommy complex?
Oh, he's got a lot of problems, Nancy. These are all psychological issues. He's obsessive compulsive. That's anxiety. So he spends his time not socially, but washing his hands, repeatedly doing things like cleaning the shoes that we saw. And his obsession with his mom, if you think about it, it's very eerie because you do not find that when someone is older. So he's not having any kind of a social life. He's isolated. He wants to be isolated. And it's all about his connection to his parents. Actually, I'm surprised that he went off to school because he can't connect with other people.
Returning to his apartment after killing 4 people, Brian Koberger calls his mother. He then decides to return to the scene of the crimes around 9 a.m. and has 2 conversations with his mother around this time. Forensic analysis of his phone reveals Koberger had no texts with friends or anyone outside his family other than a single group chat. He's also extremely awkward in texting with his parents, calling them mother and father. He likes communicating with his mother more than his father, and even texted saying, "Father, why did mother not respond? Why is she not answering the phone?"
Joining us an all-star panel, first to Josh Colesrud, veteran trial lawyer, joining us out of Phoenix. I find all of the evidence we're learning now to be very probative, specifically as it relates to clearly planning the 4 murders far in advance. There's detailed planning of forethought.
That's true. However, a prosecutor can lose a case in a variety of ways that have nothing to do with a defendant's guilt. So in this case, the FBI used a controversial technique in order to identify who Brian Koberger is or was. And that's the investigative genetic genealogy technique, where they would take the DNA found on the knife sheet, and they would create a fake profile on a genealogy website that prohibits law enforcement from doing this kind of behavior. And then they would plug it in and then ask the genealogy website if there are any relatives that are related to the fake profile that they created. And that's what they did in this case. But it doesn't just stop there. They gave the information to the local police, and then they told them not to tell anybody. They told them to keep it a secret and to pretend like they had discovered this information on their own.
To Heather Barnhart, Heather, what else, if anything, did you find on Koberger's phone?
Oh my gosh, we found so much from paranoia, looking for federal wiretapping, to even a screenshot of you, Nancy, and crime stories from YouTube cached to his device.
I'm sorry, repeat?
Yes, you. It seems as if he would watch Crime Stories, your show, on YouTube, and it was cached to his phone.
Okay, back to Karen Stark. What, if anything, does that mean, Karen?
If we look at what he's interested in, what he's obsessed about when he's Christmas Eve and he's looking at his phone and he's looking up serial killers, then it makes perfect sense that he would be watching you.
If I ever went on a murder spree, I'd be fucked. Totally fucked with the shit they'd find in my phone.
and Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. What is a better place?
Cops would be like, this bitch is crazy. She was obsessed with true crime. She's got serial murder cards.
Can't think of any. And to go and to watch you look at things, look at people who are analyzing, talk about killers. We talked about serial killers. So it makes perfect sense to me that you would be primary on his phone and he would be wanting to check you out and actually admire you.
Heather Barnhart, what did you mean by was it a photo or was it our program? What did he have in the cache?
It was YouTube. For Crime Story specifically, it would be him watching YouTube, and the phone is just smart enough and it will take little snippets and snapshots as you're watching something. So he was watching your show and the picture of you and the title of Crime Stories was saved on his device.
To Chris McDonough joining me, who has worked over 300 homicides, 25 years in LA, star of the Interview Room on YouTube. Okay. It's typical to isolate onto, say, your prosecutor or a particular witness against you. But that's really freaky. Watching Crime Stories and or me to the point his phone saves it.
Yeah. I mean, think about that in its totality here, right, Nancy? I mean, he's like a scientist who looks at bugs, and of how he sees people and what he does with observing, criminal shows like yourself here is he's wanting to learn from you. So he's seeing you a little bit different. I mean, if you look at his contacts in his phone, he's got one of his contacts, he identifies her as Hair. Okay. Now think about that. He has depersonalized everything in life down to a singular word, and it's not even a name. So it does not surprise me at all. We may not understand the why on this guy. We definitely understand the what. Okay. What's in his mind, and then what he did and how he executed it.
All of the plotting, the planning, the scheming, the malice aforethought would typically lead a prosecutor to seek the death penalty when 4 innocent people were savagely murdered. That did not happen. And now, when everything's all said and done, we're finding out the truth. Is there any way the feds will step in and seek the federal death penalty? What more will we learn about Brian Kohberger? And who and why was that video leaked? And can Brian Kohberger get Crime Stories behind bars? We stop now and remember an American hero, Officer Brian Hawley, Hudson Independent School District Police, Texas, killed in the line of duty after 31 years, leaving behind a grieving wife, Tammy, and 4 children. American hero, Officer Brian Hawley. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us tonight and every night. Nancy Grace signing off. I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then.
She is still Nancy Disgrace to me. Totally sensationalize everything. Fucking nuts. But now you guys see why I got so aggravated watching it. Any thoughts? Oh my God. Wait till you guys see this. Look who made the news. Oh my. Here's a bonus for you. Speaking of idiot savants.
Interviewed Stephen's family. This was when Brian was still not arrested yet. And Steve Gonzalez actually reached out to me via email. He had seen that Keely was following me on TikTok, and several days before she had passed, she had sent my page to Christy and was talking about it. And so they wanted to reach out and do a documentary with me. And I didn't actually meet Stephen in person until a year later when I was filming the demolition of the home on King Road. I was passing through Coeur d'Alene and I had lunch with Steve, and he invited Stephen. But we actually didn't start dating until, gosh, almost even a year after that. We were friends first, and then I invited him to, I was filming a documentary with NBC, and I wanted Stephen to be a part of it, and it was on set where we bonded.
She just said she was filming a documentary with NBC. She is? Who? What documentary?
We were skipping rocks, you can see in the documentary, and that was really when we first really met, and we just became best friends after that, and it's history.
That's amazing. Stephen, you look so much like your dad, by the way. I'm just noticing in all the pictures and you sitting there with your hat on. What has this been like for you? I mean, this has obviously been just a terrible couple of years when it comes to what happened to your sister, but it's nice to see that there's sort of a bright spot that's come out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of referencing one of my dad's previous interviews, I hate to say it, it sounds terrible and it won't make sense to a lot of people, but our family was kind of built for this type of thing. We're not cowards. We don't shy away from altercation. We were really willing to go to bat for Kaylee to whatever extent that meant. And I truly believe we did try. We ended up losing, and that sucks. It sucks to lose. It really does. But there's a bright spot. I did meet Olivia. I do have my partner for the rest of my life, and I'll hold on to that.
Let me tell you what's fucking cringe to me. Why is she sitting behind him, rubbing his shoulder? Like, oh, honey, it's okay. That to me is cringe. You're not below him. You're not behind him. I understand it might be tight for the camera, but you're both skinny. You can fit, even if you had to share a fucking chair. Why don't you sit next to him? You're his equal. You're not beneath him. You're not behind him. That shit is fucking cringe to me. Rubbing his shoulder while he's talking. Ew. Just ew.
Yeah, and I've seen Olivia, Stephen. I mean, she travels all over the country. I think the first time I saw Olivia, she was wearing literally like camo gear going into the swamp to look for Brian Laundrie. So are you sure you know what you're signing up for here, Stephen?
She's a soldier. She's built for it.
Are you going to take him on the road with you, Olivia? I mean, because you're traveling all the time with what you do.
Is that a fucking engagement ring the size of I don't know what? That thing is huge. Absolutely fucking huge. If that's an engagement ring.
Yes, we actually talked about this. There's actually some families that have reached out to me that need help here in Idaho that we will be, I'll be working with, and I want to bring Stephen along. And we also are planning our future together. Eventually, we would like to homestead, get some chickens, raise a family together. So I probably won't have as much time to be on the road, and I'll be kind of more working from home, but we'll do some stories together and help other families, because that's really what it boils down to is helping other people and giving them a voice, because some families don't have a voice or their case is so small that no one pays attention to them.
Yeah, we see it all the time. I mean, people who don't, their cases don't get picked up by the media and the police haven't properly investigated, things like that. So you guys can really shine a light on those kinds of things. But I'm thinking about, you're talking about homesteading, Olivia. I'm a Florida guy. You're a Florida girl, aren't you? I mean, are you living in Idaho now? Like, I used to always see you talking about homesteading, having a farm. Like, it seems so different.
Yeah, well, I actually did grow up on Bainbridge Island, Washington. So I kind of grew up in the Pacific Northwest, half of my life there and half in Florida. I still consider myself a Florida.
Dude, that fucking ring is huge. Huge. Wow. Now we know where all the GoFundMe money went to.
Girl, but it's beautiful out here. Steven loves to fish, and I learned to fish with him, and it's a pastime that we really enjoy together. And I love the outdoors, and Idaho is the perfect place for that. So
Yeah, I'm just looking like there's something sparkling down there.
oh yes, we did get engaged.
Wow, well, congratulations.
That is an engagement ring. That is fucking huge.
That's incredible. Everybody in the background is cheering for you, by the way, all of our producers who feel like they've gotten to know your family, Stephen.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
There's no way. I'm sorry, but there is no way he makes that much money to buy a ring that big. That ring was huge. Huge. That was bigger than fucking Mr. Beast's fiance. And his, I think, was like 3 carats. That was bigger. Whoa. Just whoa. Yeah. What does he do for a living? I was just about to look it up. Hold on. I don't think he does anything that big. Oh, there's a Steve Gonzalez that is a paranormal investigator. Oh, they got tens of thousands a couple of times. No, they may have returned this one this time around, but he did 2 other GoFundMes that I don't think was returned. Yeah, but he had 3 GoFundMes at one point. Oh. I'm not finding anything. Oh. Tech support agent at Inspiro. He does tech support. Oh, wait, there's more. I know, same one. Yeah, but she's not gonna buy her own ring. Oh. Well, according to AI, he has no job. It says Kaylee Kaylee Gonzalez's brother Steven is the older brother of Kaylee. He is not identified as having a specific profession in the provided search results. The search results focus on his role in advocating for justice for his sister and his family following her tragic death. So, but according to LinkedIn, he's a tech support. So, oh yeah, she wanted everyone to see the ring. I bet there's probably a close up on Instagram. Nope, no close up. Stop. No, nothing. Oh well. I was curious. All right, last thing I want to show you guys. Hold on, I got to get the dog out. Come on, out. Out. Let's go. Come on. Come on, out. Come on. You can't stay in there. Go. Don't look at me like that. Then you got to be good. You want to stay, you got to be good. All right. So last thing I want to show you guys. Hold on. Ugh. Where is this? Yeah, there's actually a lot of channels reporting on it. That he's got a new girlfriend, he's getting married. But there was one specific one. Hang on. Oh. Hold on, I'm looking. I know I watched it. I'm looking through my history. Come on. See, even my history, though, is like, here it is. It's like horror movie after horror movie. All right. Well. Let me just say I'm like a total hypocrite because I just said to this guy, like, why are you so obsessed with Chris Watts? And here I am playing the video. So that would make me a hypocrite. But it's really interesting. I want you guys to see it.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all well. Today we've got another Chris Watts video. What I've got is some information on good authority that the internet is awash with rumors and theories that Chris Watts is about to get married. Well, it seems that that could be the case. Now, in front of you is a picture of a lady called Lizzie. I'm not going to give her last name away due to, obviously, data protection and things like that. In front of you is a photo of a lady that apparently, allegedly, has been visiting Chris Watts on a regular basis. So what does this mean? Well, for one thing, we don't know whether she is romantically involved with Chris or not. It would seem so, the amount of visits that she's having. Now, are these visits genuine visits and love is in the air? Or is there some sort of nefarious plan lurking, some sort of hidden agenda that we are not aware of in the background? It appears that Lizzie here has been visiting Chris. She was approved on his visitors list because what they have to do, a prisoner has to write down all the names and addresses. The prison then checks the addresses out and the contacts out just to make sure that they're going to get approved, and then they get approved and then they're allowed a visit. So on Chris's approved visitors list, there is a 45-year-old female down as a friend. There's Ronnie and Cindy Watts, Jamie, Lizzie. There's also this Lizzie who's in front of you now on the screen. There's also a married couple, husband and wife, 58-year-old and 60-year-old respectively. There's also a gentleman who is in the discovery, actually. He went to the Watts house at 9:30 on August the 13th, on the fateful night. He's down as a discovery, but I'm not going to name him here. So after these visits, she decides to pack all her stuff up and move everything that she owned to Wisconsin so she could be closer to Chris. Now, I don't know if that is the actual reason. I'm just speculating there. Or is it just a coincidence that we're given and try and make our own minds up on things? Now, you can either disregard it, you can believe it or not believe it. It's totally up to you. But most situations, I just take with a pinch of salt. And if it happens, it happens. If they're proved correct, they're correct. If they're not right and they're proved wrong, then they're wrong. But I will certainly not put my head on a... So, my experience ranges over different fields of business, from management to hospitality to superior customer services, as well as internet retail, to even my share of office assisting. So customer service, internet retail, so shopping online, and even my share of office assisting. A gopher, basically. I'm a hard worker and a diligent individual in whatever field of work. I've had plenty of professional experiences, but I always...
How do these people get these visiting lists, and who gives a fuck? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is where I'm different. Who cares? Like, okay, it's interesting to look at once, but to go into all of this, like, why do we care? He's a fucking murderer who put his kids down a stupid fucking oil well. Didn't even put them together. I don't know. Looking up who's marrying him, like, you're an idiot. Go watch Queen Bee. You belong there.
met or inspired to meet standards preset for me. As any individual, I am imperfect, but I hold professionalism to my highest worth ethic, near and dear. I also aspire to be the best professional that I can be in the business of infinite possibilities, the international market. There is more to me than what I can put into words, but actions speak louder than words, so let me show you what my actions can say. What do we think so far? On my current standing position as president of International League Corporate Business, okay, and the remodeling of existing, based on years of independent small business to possible National League Corporation. Currently, my business base and work field is in construction and remodeling. I've already said that. 4 possible investors in this corporation to become internationally known and compete in a local, national, and international basis. Thank you for your interest. I look forward to speaking to you. Basically, invest your money. Come and invest your money in a company that I'm a president of with no track record because it's in its growth stages. Would you invest, guys? No credentials on here. Okay, I don't want to go too hard on her. So the dates are here. So like I said, this was last updated in 2013. So I don't know what's happened to Lizzie Lee Contracting or Lizzie Lee the President. So she's after investors as far back as 2013. Home improvement, electrical, plumbing, drywall, painting, tilework, ceramics, beauty sales background. She's got experience. Top it all off, she's a sales rep at the bottom here. Once she saw some materials, designed it, cut it here as well. To be honest, claimed to be in construction and she's claimed to be a lawyer. I wonder why she claimed to be a lawyer. Why would Chris be interested in that? What you don't realize is the prison guards, they do a roundup of all the prisoners from all the different wings. They don't just come and get one prisoner. They have to go around all the wings. So say half an hour before the visits or an hour before, they'll go around every single wing, pick people up, dump them all then at the visitor center and lock them all in a room ready for their visits. Like I say, I'm going off UK prisons here. I don't know if Americans are the same, but I'd imagine it's not too far away. Okay.
It's crazy. I can tell you that in prisons, you do get all day. You get hours. Not in county jail, you get like an hour, but in prisons, you do get hours. And a lot of times people travel very far, so you're allowed like 5-6 hours with someone. That I do know. I mean, you're basically just sitting in a room with everybody else, eating on vending machines. It's really not fun, but I mean, I don't know how it is now, but that's how it was years ago. So yes, Chris Watts is getting married to this girl named Lizzie Lee. There you have it, folks. You heard it here first. So, what did we learn tonight? We learned that Olivia has an engagement ring the size of Texas. Chris Watts is getting married again. And that's it. And the idiot savants of Nancy Grace will never change. Woohoo! We learned a lot. All right. I'm getting off though. Been on an hour and a half with my whole 62 people. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you, my amazing mods. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, I'll be back soon enough. All right. I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful night. Peace.